Lately, I have found that there are two types of people. One who thinks very much about himself, and there are also who cares about the hearts of others. When they are in any conflict situation, it may be because they live in different cultures.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is NURUL AFINI binti AHMAD ZAMRI. My matric number 1213164. So today we are going to look on phase negotiation theory. This theory conceived by Stella Thinktomi in 1985. The main idea is to assume that people of every culture are concerned with the presentation of their face. The purpose is on explaining the reasons behind the different cultures handle conflict. Next, the factor in negotiating phase. The point, concern over self and other faces. People from a collectivistic culture usually avoid or integrate the conflicts while more individualistic people dominates the conflict as to maintain an independent phase in the society. The last one, status quo and their individuality is less concerned. Next, five types of conflict: dominating, avoiding, obliging, compromising, integrating. The evaluation of the theory. This theory is acceptable because it helps us to understand and realize that each person, especially from a different cultural background, has a way of managing diverse reaction in each situation. The application of the theory in today's situation. Perhaps we have a friend who is from other state or country or another collectivist culture. The length your friend would go to in order to avoid conflict during disagreement may have surprised us. Likewise, your friend maybe have been shocked by your directness. The criticism on the theory. There are societies in this country which follows another culture like individualistic culture or collective culture, vice versa. So the generalization applied to the cultural classification is not practical in this context. The disadvantage of the theory. Phase negotiation theory is affected by culture, and it says that if a culture acts a certain way to save face, then the individual will act that way as well. It seems like the theory neglects the individualism of a person and may or may not want to see face in certain situation based on his individualistic needs. The advantage of the theory has given us base to work with the help manage conflict between two different countries. The reason that it helps because two different countries need to see eye to eye during negotiation to reach the same goal. And this theory helps us to understand to do so, we need to understand the culture and its beliefs and values that we are dealing with so we don't offend them. The theory also gives us an idea why the individual act that way. The conclusion. Fully understood and properly applied, phase negotiation theory can help people of different cultures avoid needless misunderstandings and come to mutually beneficial agreements. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.
Of face negotiation theory. Stella, what is face?
Face is about communication respect issue. It's a claimed sense of social self-worth that I believe every human being wants and needs. But it's definitely about communication identity, respect issue, and other consideration issue.
Is it a private thing or a public thing?
I think it's both. Depending on what culture we are talking about, I have a feeling that for the collectivistic, group-oriented type of culture like Japan, China, there's a distance between the public self-presentation of face as well as the private self. Whereas in the individualistic culture, such as the larger US culture or the larger Australian culture, there might be a closer correspondence between the public self as well as the private self.
Can you flesh out the differences between those two types of culture?
Basically, individualistic culture emphasizes the importance of I identity more so than the we identity. That we emphasize on taking personal initiative, we emphasize on personal achievement, whereas collectivistic cultures tend to emphasize teamwork, group orientation, group harmony issues, that we should always be considerate of other people's face. Group harmony should always supersede our individual self-interest or self-needs. Broadly speaking, U.S. overall, and Australia, and many of the Northern European cultures have been identified as more highly individualistic. In comparison to many of the Asian cultures, such as Japanese cultures, Chinese cultures, Korean cultures, many of the Latin American cultures, and also actually many African cultures. According to Triandus, actually, overall speaking, in terms of global level, almost about 70% or so of the cultures subscribe to some forms of collectivistic values. In